February 21st, 2006, 6:30 p.m, Kent, England. Colin Dixon is driving home after a long shift. He's the manager of the Securitas Cash Depot, a high-security fortress holding millions in banknotes. Behind him, blue lights flash. An unmarked police car. Two officers in high-visibility jackets signal for him to pull over. It looks routine. It looks official. But as Colin steps out of his car, the officers don't ask for his license. They pull out handguns. In a split second, the manager of the UK's largest cash depot is handcuffed and thrown into the back of a van. He isn't being arrested, he is being kidnapped. And while Colin is staring at a barrel of a gun, two other men, dressed in full police uniforms, are knocking on his front door. They tell his wife and young son that Colin has been in a car accident. They tell them they need to come to the hospital right now. By midnight, Colin Dixon, his wife and his 9-year-old child are zip-tied on the floor of a remote farm in Kent. And the man holding them there has one message for Colin. Walk us through the front door of your depot or your family dies. The Securitas Depot in Tunbridge wasn't just a building, it was a system. Every door operated on a man-trap principle. One door had to lock completely before the next one would open. Bulletproof glass on every internal window. Armed response on permanent standby. 14 trained staff inside at all times. Every one of them with a panic button that would seal the entire building in seconds. The people who designed this place had one goal. Will you make it so that no single person could ever open it alone? And they succeeded. What they couldn't design away was a man on the inside who had been watching for 18 months. His name was Ermir Hysenaj, Albanian-born, quiet and reliable. A Securitas employee who turned up on time and never drew attention to himself. He was also memorizing everything. Shift rotations, access codes, which guards worked which corridors, when the cash cages were fullest, and when response teams changed over. Every detail passed to a man named Lee Murray. Colin Dixon wasn't a random target. He wasn't chosen because he was convenient. He was chosen because Hysenaj told Murray exactly who he was, where he lived, his wife's name, his son's age, and his route home. The kidnapping wasn't improvised, it was researched. Murray had built a complete picture of every person connected to that depot. He knew the building better than most of the people who worked in it, and for 18 months, well, nobody inside those walls had any idea. But who was Lee Murray, and how does a professional cage fighter become the architect of the largest cash robbery in British history? Lee Murray competed in mixed martial arts at an international level. He wasn't a street criminal who stumbled into a big score. He was methodical, disciplined, the kind of man who treats every problem as something to be broken down and solved. When he set his sights on the Securitas Depot, he didn't plan a robbery. He planned an operation, and at 1 a.m. on February 22nd, it began. A white Volvo pulls up to the depot gates. The guards inside see Colin Dixon in the passenger seat. They see police uniforms, they see nothing unusual. First gate opens, second gate opens. The moment the vehicle is sealed inside the man-trap corridor, the masks go on. AK-47s, submachine guns, shotguns. 14 staff members are facing weapons before a single alarm is touched. One message, touch anything, and the manager's family dies. Nobody touches anything. The vault opens. What happens next is not a smash and grab. The crew moves through the cash cages in order, systematic. Every man knows his position, his cage, his time limit. They are loading a lorry with banded notes, color-coded by bank, sorted by denomination. And then they hit something nobody planned for. The lorry is full, physically full, and there is still more than £150 million sitting in the cages in front of them. They leave it, perfectly calmly. They leave £150 million behind and drive away. By 6 a.m, £53 million, $92 million is gone. Staff locked in cages, family left at the farm with a phone. Britain wakes up to the biggest cash robbery in its history. 7 tons of cash. No fingerprints, no witnesses. For 72 hours, the police had absolutely nothing. The investigation was the largest Kent police had ever run, and for the first 3 days it was going nowhere. The getaway lorries were found abandoned, wiped clean. The police uniforms had burned in a field outside Tonebridge. The farmhouse where Colin's family were held, scrubbed. Every forensics team hit the same wall. The crew had anticipated the investigation the same way they'd anticipated the security. And then a woman walked into a police station. She wasn't a detective. She wasn't an informant. She was a makeup artist, and she had no idea she'd just helped kidnap a family. To make the fake traffic stop convincing enough to fool Colin Dixon up close, in real time on a live road, Murray's crew needed more than uniforms. They needed faces that looked like police officers, so they hired a professional, a woman who specialized in prosthetic makeup and costume work. They told her it was for a music video. She did the job. She made them look exactly like police. 3 days later, she turned on the news. She recognized her work. She walked straight to the police and gave them everything. Names, descriptions, exactly what each person looked like underneath the prosthetics. Within 5 days of the robbery, the first arrest was made. Ermir Hysenaj. In his house, a hand-drawn map of the Securitas Depot, a list of Colin Dixon's family members, personal details about his wife and his son's school, and then the money started surfacing. £1.3 million in a van in Kent, £9 million in a South London lockup, cash still banded from the depot, buried in woodland outside Tonebridge. Name by name, the network collapsed. Every member except one. Hysenaj arrested, Russia arrested. The drivers, the guards, the logistics crew arrested, convicted, sentenced. 36 people in total. Sentences adding up to more than 150 years. Lee Murray was not in Britain for any of it. Months before the arrests closed in, he had moved to Morocco. His father was Moroccan. He had legitimate reasons to be there, and Morocco at that time had no extradition treaty with the United Kingdom. British police knew exactly where he was. They could track him. They could monitor him. They could build a case against him. They could not touch him. In 2006, Murray was arrested in Rabat, not for Securitas but on separate charges. He sat in a Moroccan prison while British lawyers worked a legal system that had no obligation to hand him over. The British courts convicted him in absentia, 25 years on paper, but Murray kept fighting extradition through Moroccan courts. Every appeal bought time, and every legal challenge was another year he wasn't in a British cell. Every member of the crew who stood beside him in that depot was already years into their sentence. He was finally extradited to the United Kingdom in 2023, 17 years after the robbery. He is now in his mid-40s, serving his sentence. The men who loaded the lorry alongside him have already been released. And the money? Of the £53 million taken from that depot, police recovered £21 million. And that leaves £32 million unaccounted for. Nearly $60 million. Every member of the crew maintained they didn't know where it was. And here's the thing. Most of them were probably telling the truth. Murray didn't just design the robbery, he designed who knew what. Every member of the crew had a role, a position, a specific job. Nobody beneath him knew the full picture. The drivers didn't know the safe houses. The safe house contacts didn't know the money routes. The money routes didn't lead back to Murray. It was the same discipline he applied to planning the heist, applied to hiding the money. So, when investigators pushed the arrested crew members on where the £32 million went, most of them genuinely couldn't say. The theories that emerged from the investigation point in 3 directions. Dubai. Cash heavy, disclosure light, accessible to people with the right intermediaries. Investigators believe a significant portion was moved through property deals. Morocco. Portions are suspected to be physically buried across multiple sites. Locations only Murray knows. And fire. One suspected safe house burned during a police raid in the months after the robbery. And the contents were never fully inventoried. Nobody knows how much was inside. What is known is this. The crew that maintained perfect discipline for 18 months of planning could not maintain it for 18 months of freedom. They spent, they talked, they trusted the wrong people. Murray maintained his. That is why every person who stood in that depot is in prison. And most of the money is not. The largest cash robbery in British history ended with the criminals convicted and the crime only half undone. £32 million, 17 years still missing. That is not a loose end, that is the plan working exactly as designed.